kitty. Irving. Alright guys, so I just got home from work. It's Friday and it's very warm outside. It's not even raining, it's awesome outside. So I'm gonna do work on the car. I don't know really what I'm gonna get to. Hopefully the manifold, turbo, radiator. I'm gonna jack the car up and I'm gonna do the walkthrough on the motor today. So I'm gonna tell you what I struggled with, what you should look forward to, maybe what tools you need, maybe some of that, what strategy I used and stuff like that, you know. I'm gonna change, get into dirtier clothes, and then let you know. So I'll see you in the garage. First, we're gonna start by lifting the car up. So it should be up in 3, 2, 1. Boom. Alright, so it's all jacked up. I think I'm gonna start with, I didn't think about that. Actually, I'm gonna start with the walkthrough of what I did with the motor, because that'd probably be the easiest with nothing in it. And that's where I left off. This is where I left off after I put the motor in it, so that would make sense, Tyler, so stop talking. You guys saw it last with the trans motor together with the clutch in it. So I'm gonna show you from that I put the jack under the T-case with a block of wood under it. So then when I got the motor and the trans in there, I could move it around with my hands and have play with the the T-case, I'm sorry. I was at first gonna do the chains right here as usual on the intake bolts, the manifold bolts, I'm sorry, the right here and over there. So I did that, and then I put two straps around the trans to the pivot point, if that makes sense. So the cherry picker's right here, and then it had the chains, and then it had two straps going all the way over here. That didn't work because I didn't have any angle on it. It went in just straight. It couldn't clear this. It couldn't clear that at all. So what I did was I just used this one and this one for the trans and everything. It was a lot of weight, but it worked. So that made the trans and motor go like this. So then we dropped it in, wiggled it that way underneath, and then we put a jack under the trans so it holds still where it needed to be, and then all we did was lower the cherry picker, which we were at this motion, now we just did that. So that's how it was. I am telling you guys, if you ever do this, do it this way. It's so much easier. I will never, ever, ever, ever in 1,000 years take a trans out with the motor in it and put a trans in with the motor in the car. Ever, never, ever, ever, ever. That's definitely my opinion. Obviously people will tell you different. I probably got it within, I don't know, 30 minutes, if that. Honestly, it was not hard at all. I did have to remove the alternator. After I got it in there, the T-case was not on yet. So I wiggled it in there, and you know how it was on the jack and the wood? So it was right, it was exactly like, that's where it splits right there. Those two bolts hold it together. So that wasn't in together. So what I did was I climbed over there, and my 2 feet were over there, and I got my dad to help me, and he was pushing it while I was turning it. So all right, free hand. So I'm gonna get in this bad boy. So say my feet were right here, he was over there pushing the trans this way, and I was in here wiggling the trans like this, and it eventually just went like boom, and it clicked in, and it worked out flawlessly. and then he was holding it while I was putting in the bolts. And make sure they're not, if your threads are okay, you won't have to use a wrench or anything. They should spin by hand easily for the first few threads at least. I got mine most of the way in with just my hands. So don't just think you got it and then just use an impact. Please don't do that, for the love of Chipotle, don't do that. The only thing we struggled with was trying to put it in straight. Once we figured out you have to get the angle, it went so smoothly. If you're not just trying to squeeze it together with bolts, please don't do that. For your information, just don't think you got it when it's like crooked and then just try to slam it together with bolts. Do not do that. Make sure it's all the way flush. The T-case and the trans is flush before you put bolts in it. And but besides that, there's bolts on the bottom. I'm gonna take this down, I don't need that anymore. But besides that, there's bolts on the bottom, which they're just bolts, I can't explain it. There's, hold on. The two little ones go right there, these two. And then there's a big one that goes right here, right there. And that one goes all the way to over, that one goes all the way over here. So there's, and then there's the same little ones, and then there's the same little ones underneath. But there's nothing else to walk through with this because it's so easy to do this way. Just make sure if your buddy's like, hey, I'm gonna pull the trans without the motor, just tell him no. Tell him no. Just be like, no, just pull the motor, all right? Just pull the motor. It'll be easier. My buddy Tyler, he's on YouTube, he told me not to. So do that. Help him out. Do it. I think that covers most of the video. That covers most of the install that I struggled with. If you have any questions, please comment. I'm glad to answer them. Guys, I think I'm gonna install the turbo because that's cool. Turbos are cool, so we're gonna do that. Turbos. Woo. I need you smart people right now because I don't know what this is and I need to find out like yesterday. So I think it's I know it has something to do with the fuel, but it's this right here. I don't know if it's like a breather or like a vent for the fuel pump or something. I don't know. So if you guys could help me, please comment and please tell me. But don't guess, please don't guess. I don't like guessers with this kind of thing. This thing doesn't have to be so heavy. Make sure that clears. Make sure that clears. Boom! Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Man, these like race manifolds, they're a pain. I think it's very important. If you like working on cars, everyone's had their bad moments. And if you still want to work on cars, just try to be happy. I know projects get to you and you just want to finish them. But my experience is, if you can learn to laugh at yourself, you'll have way more fun working on cars. Take it from me, I changed oil. And anyone that changed oil, it's not a fun job. I've changed oil for 2 years, I think. You gotta have fun, like you just gotta, I'm not saying joke around like with cars and like mess up cars. I'm saying like have fun as in like, you know, crack jokes, like laugh at yourself when you like drop lug nuts 10 times in a row. The worst is when you drop lug nuts and you're trying to hustle. I got them all tightened, looks really good. They're all there, all tight, everything's good. So now, I'm sorry, first I have to say I'm sorry if I keep looking at the camera or the screen instead of the actual camera. It's just hard to get used to, but I promise I will try to break that habit. It's just getting hard. But anyways, the next thing is I'm gonna go below the car and figure out where all the lines go. I know here's this line. This is the feed. This one, the braided one. This one goes right to the head. Right there. See it? But I don't have that bolt. It comes with a bolt that has a hole in it, so the oil can actually get through and it can tighten. You can't just use any plain bolt. That's what I'm trying to get at. But then, there's also this line that comes out of it, this line that comes out of it, and then there's another braided one. You can see the tip right there. I know that one goes to the oil pan. So I do know where that one goes, but I'm trying to find the other one. So actually I just answered my questions on which one's the coolant and oil. Because that one goes to the oil pan, and then that one's the feed. So we just have to figure out where the coolant goes. See how that works? You just figure things out as you go. So I hopped down there to get a jump start, and I figured out one thing for sure. One. And then I'm guessing on another. So I went down there, and you know the oil return that goes to the oil pan that I was talking about that I already knew? Well, I got this with the turbo, and I'm like, oh, well, I don't really need that. Well, it was a different size. So I'm gonna have to put this one on. This is the thing that actually attaches to the oil pan, and it actually threads onto the line. And then the second thing with the two coolant hoses, obviously I'm learning this, so I know people that know this watching the video are gonna shoot themselves, but I think those lines go to the radiator. I could call Justin and figure this out, or I could just learn it on my own and life lesson, you know? Let's do this. I'm a minion again. Whoop, whoop. Right there. So let's get on it. Hopefully they're 10s, because that's what I grabbed. I'm so smart. But I don't like oil at all. Changing oil for a long time, it does stuff to you, man. You go partially insane. I'm not gonna lie. I would not recommend it as a career. It's not fun. You meet cool people. Well, hold on, no, scratch that. You meet interesting people. I might have to play with the ink. Aha, that was easy. You just need a good snug, and it should be good. Don't crank them. Those hoses for the turbo have nothing to do with the radiator at all. They actually, so the long one, the guy before me with this motor had a recycle. So this hose and this hose just comes back around. With my turbo, this attaches there, and then the shorter one.
You want your G-string washed?
And then the shorter one attaches right here, so it actually finishes this one.
You want your G-string washed?
I know he's meaning to do this. Alright, so then I finished the cycle. I went ahead and jumped ahead just to make sure everything fit. It didn't. So, see this gap right there? It's between the radiator fan and the turbo. So now I gotta bend it a little bit this way, which is gonna drive me nuts, but it's gotta go a little crooked. And so I'm gonna have to drill another hole here to get that straight. And another thing is I had this one that went here, but my hood doesn't latch when I have that on. So I gotta get rid of that. I think I'm gonna put it on the bottom, maybe weld it or just drill, bolt it. But that's where we are, so I gotta take everything apart again to do something on the bottom with the radiator. Alright, so what I had to do at the bottom was get this. This is what goes under the radiator, hold it. You just put it right there. There it goes. And then since I have cool AN fitting radiator hoses, these just twist on. Nice and tight. This is the alternator. This is what keeps your battery charged. Yee! Alright, So I just got the top or the bottom bolt down on the alternator. There's only 2. I found it easier to lay the alternator all the way back so I can see everything from top. And that made it way easier to, you know, get it through the alternator and the alternator mount. And now I'm just doing the top one, easy enough. And then the next thing I'm gonna do is the intake manifold when we get back from getting food, because Tommy's whining. Tommy just left. I think he's coming back. He's been controlling the camera, so thanks to him, but right now I'm gonna just start on the intake manifold. Gaskets save lives. Oh wow, that went way easier than usual. Alright guys, I'm gonna wrap this video up, but first I'm gonna tell you what I did. So we got the turbo done, all the lines are done, oil line, or oil feed return line. Both coolant lines are done. Radiators, 75% done. All I gotta do is mount this bracket below so it can hold that up so I don't just have this one. So I'm gonna do that later. It's getting too cold. I also, the dipstick tube, it's not really working with this manifold, so I'm bending it. As you can see, that's bent. But I just gotta bend it a little bit more. But eventually I will get that done. And then, what else? Alternator's done. Intake's done. Finish up the radiator and get the dip tube good. Dip tube good. Dipstick. I'm calling it night. So, I'll see you guys later. Peace!
Feel this way forever. I'm Byron Jackson.